Let me show you exactly what unfolded at the Madlanga Commission, because Captain Itumeleng Makgotloe, who is a senior ballistic analyst, testified about his report on the firearms used in multiple high-profile murders, including DJ Sumbody and engineer Armand Swart, and the testimony reveals a justice system in crisis.
It is worth mentioning that when making changes in the report before issuing it to witness B in June 2024, I did not print the entire report and have it commissioned with a new date. I only took the amendment pages, attached my initials, requested the person who commissioned the first report on 24 May 2024 to also initialize amended pages and replace the respective pages in the old report. This, commissioners, was a common practice in the ballistic department, as it can be seen by Annexure LIM3. It is worth mentioning at this point that I have been accused of allegedly having informed the investigating officers that Vereeniging and Bramley cases were linked to other high-profile cases when they collected the ballistic report in June 2024. I would like to state categorically that I never made such a statement to the investigating officers. The only linkage I was aware of at the date I gave the investigating officers the report was the firearm confiscated during the arrest of the suspect in Bramley on the 17th April 2024, were the same ones used in the murder of the victim in Vereeniging. I was aware of this link between the Bramley and Vereeniging cases because I conducted the ballistic analysis on the exhibits for the two cases. Thus, I'm not certain whether the investigating officers misconstrued the linkages between those two cases to mean there were links with other cases besides those two cases. Furthermore, the images of the samples used during my ballistic analysis had not been acquired on IB's system at the date I gave the report to witness B in June 2024. As such, there were no way that I would have been able to know if there are any links between the Vereeniging and Bramley cases with any other cases, since such links can only be identified after images of the samples are acquired on IBIS. I have been made aware that the acquisition of the images relating to the Bramley case was only done.
So right from the start, this ballistic expert is defending himself against accusations. And here's what's happening. Makgotloe is saying that when he made corrections to his ballistic report, he didn't print a new report with a new date. Instead, he just replaced individual pages in the old report and kept the original date, which is already raising questions about proper documentation procedures. But more importantly, he's denying that he told investigators the firearms were linked to other high-profile cases, and his defense is that the images weren't even in the ballistic identification system, yet so he couldn't have known about other links. But here's the problem. Investigators claim he did tell them about links to high-profile cases back in June, but the images only got uploaded to the system in September, which means either the investigators are lying or this expert somehow knew about connections before the system could have shown them. And that raises the question, was someone feeding him information about which cases these guns were linked to before the official analysis was done? Because if criminal networks knew which firearms were being analyzed, they could tamper with evidence or intimidate witnesses. Now watch what happens when the expert starts explaining the errors that were found in his report. And this is where it gets really bad, because prosecutors found mistakes that could have destroyed the entire case.
Queries raised on the ballistic report. On the 21st October 2024, I received an email from Colonel Motsepe, one of our commanders in the ballistic section, instructing me to attend to queries that Senior Prosecutor Ronald Gutier had sent to him regarding errors in the ballistic report she received from the investigating officers, which errors she requested to be rectified. The specific errors in the initial report is described below. Paragraph 10.2 of the report indicates that the cartridge cases mentioned in 3.4 were fired from the firearm mentioned in 4.1. The set 3.4 referred to in paragraph 10.2 relates to paragraph 3.4 of the report, which specifies two 7.62 millimeter fired bullet core, which I received as part of the examination in the Bramley case file. The 4.1 referred to and in paragraph 10.2 relate to paragraph 4.1 of the report, which specify one AK-47 rifle, which I received as part of the exhibit in the Bramley case file. Paragraph 4.9 of the report.
Hold on, because this is absolutely critical. Let me break down what just got exposed here. The ballistic report was supposed to confirm that 15 AK-47 cartridge cases found at the crime scene were fired from the AK-47 rifle found in the suspect's possession. But Makgotloe made an error in his report. He referenced the wrong paragraph, so instead of linking the cartridge cases to the rifle, he accidentally linked bullet cores to the rifle, which means the report as written didn't actually prove the suspects fired the weapon, and the senior prosecutor caught this error and had to send it back for correction, because without that link, the defense could argue there's no evidence connecting the suspects to the shooting. And these aren't just any suspects we're talking about. This is the DJ Sumbody murder case and the Armand Swart murder case, where a police officer was found with the murder weapons. And if this report had gone to court with that error, the killers could have walked free on a technicality, and the prosecutor wouldn't have been able to prove the firearms in the suspect's hands fired the shots that killed these victims. And remember, this isn't just about two murders, because the same firearms are linked to over 20 other murders, including DJ Vintos and other high-profile hits. So one typing error in a ballistic report could have let serial killers stay on the streets.
I rectified the error identified in the first report issued to the investigating officers regarding the 15 cartridge cases. Thereafter, I scanned and emailed the amendment report to Senior Public Prosecutor Kutie on 22nd October 2024. Similar to the first report, I replaced the pages in the old report with the amendment pages and did not change the date of commissioning of the report. Thus, the amendment report sent to Public Prosecutor Kutie on the 22 October 2024 is also dated 24 May 2024. On the 6th November 2024, Senior Public Prosecutor Kutie sent me an email requesting the Section 212 statement for the ballistic analysis conducted in respect of additional exhibits of the Vereeniging case, that is the bullet found on the body of the deceased. I sent the report to the Senior Public Prosecutor Kutie on the same day, the 6th November 2024. This email has been marked as an annexed LIM4. However, I noted an error on page 3 of my report dated 24 May 2024, sent to Public Prosecutor Kutie on 22 October 2024, wherein reference was made to Bramley case 140 of 4 2024 instead of 149 of 4 2024, which was a typographical error. I have marked this as annexure LIM5. I rectified the error and emailed the amendment page 3 of 8 to the Senior Public Prosecutor on 6 November 2024, notifying her of the typo. In the email, I requested her to replace the page in the initial report with the amendment 1. I have attached the amendment page as annexure L.
So now we have a second major error, and this one is the wrong case number. The report referenced case number 140/4/2024, but the actual case number is 149/4/2024. And Makgotloe calls this a typographical error, just a typo. But think about what this means in court. The defense lawyer gets the ballistic report and sees it references the wrong case number. So the defense can argue, this evidence doesn't even belong to our case. This report is for case 140, not case 149. So you can't use it against our client. And even though it's obviously just a wrong digit, the defense will use every technicality to create reasonable doubt. And this is supposed to be a professional forensic report that will be used in a murder trial. But it's got wrong paragraph references, wrong case numbers. And according to the expert himself, these reports kept getting amended and pages kept getting replaced, but the dates never changed. So you've got a report dated May 24th that was actually amended in October and then amended again in November, but still shows the May date, which makes it look like the expert is backdating corrections to hide when errors were discovered. And if you think this is making you angry, hit that like button, because we need to expose how our justice system is failing to hold murderers accountable due to incompetence and sloppy work.
I am 6. Interrogation by the investigating officers relating to the Bramley analysis conducted on the Vereeniging and Bramley cases.
Captain, just remember in this section to hit to the warning again of the names.
Yes, commissioners, I don't know if you can give me a minute so that I can highlight that, so that when I come...
Let us rather take a very quick adjournment, and may I ask you, Mr. Musigiri, to take the witness's statement and just write witness B, wherever it is, witness B or witness whoever. If another of the investigators is mentioned, you'll indicate to us when you're ready. Let's adjourn.
So. Thank you, Commissioners.
So the investigating officer, witness B, called Makgotloe on January 7th to say he needs corrections made to the ballistic report because the prosecutor needs it for court. And if the corrections aren't made, the case will be thrown out. And Makgotloe tells her he's on leave for 2 weeks, but he says it's urgent. The case could be struck off the court roll, which means the killers could go free. So there's pressure to get this corrected immediately. And what happened next led to Makgotloe opening a kidnapping case against the investigators. And the commission is going to directly challenge him on this absurd claim. So watch this exchange carefully.
Captain, and on a more serious note, do you still persist seriously now with the allegation that, knowing what we know and your own testimony and your own interaction with the commissioners and the chairperson, do you still seriously persist that you were kidnapped by witness B?
Commissioners, that one, commissioners, because I opened a case, and I opened a case based on the incident that happened. And I assume when a case is opened, it should go through the processes of all the cases. I cannot determine whether the case should or should not be. That will be the prosecutor in the prosecutor's decision whether they enroll the case or not, commissioners. But looking into the sequence and how I felt about the incident that night, there is only one organization that I can run to. SAPS. And SAPS will follow, like any other citizens of the country, will open a case and send it for the decision.
But at all material times you were...
Did you hear that? Because the Commission Counsel just asked him directly, do you still persist with this kidnapping allegation? And Makgotloe's response is basically, yes, I opened a case, so it must go through the process, But then the counsel makes the most devastating point. You were allegedly kidnapped at a SAPS premises at a police station, surrounded by police officers with security at the gate, and you claim you were kidnapped there. And Makgotloe has no good answer for this because the whole claim is ridiculous. You can't be kidnapped at a police station by police officers who are trying to get a corrected report for a murder trial. And according to other testimony that came out, Witness B and her team went to Makgotloe's office at the forensic lab. He let them in. He directed them to his office. He told security to let them in. And then when they discovered his computer had multiple versions of the report with different information, and they wanted to seize the computer to investigate.
Commissioners, typing error, commissioners, cannot be classified as to how the council is putting it. At the laboratory, commissioners, we've got two types of errors. We've got allow me to refer to these commissioners because it was not available at the time of, it is not an annex because it was not available at the time of doing the statement. We've got a critical and non-critical errors. So, if I may explain to you, Council, non-critical errors includes, it's 4 categories. It's incorrect dates on an affidavit, defects or H results not confirmed, administrative errors, and log numbers. Those are non-critical errors. And I will believe that those errors that the council is leading me with falls within this category. So it cannot be incompetence or deliberate. What is the other one?
Negligence.
Negligence. But as I already indicated, commissioners, that the errors will arise time to time as long as there is still pressure at the lab. The errors will always be there because we push quantities, not quality.
Stop everything, because did you just hear what this police forensic expert just admitted? He said we push quantities, not quality, and as long as there is pressure at the lab, the errors will always be there. So this is an official admission from a SAPS ballistic expert that the crime lab prioritizes speed over accuracy, which means every single ballistic report coming out of that lab is potentially unreliable because they're rushing through cases to clear backlogs instead of doing thorough, accurate work. And he's trying to defend himself by saying these are non-critical errors, just typos, just administrative mistakes. But the Commission Council already told him earlier these are serious errors that could be attributed to gross negligence or incompetence. Because when you put the wrong paragraph reference in a ballistic report.
That's a very disturbing observation in the criminal justice system. It's a very, very disturbing observation.
I know.
I understand the background you give for the observation, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a very disturbing observation.
Yes, just to put again on that point, commissioners, there is a program that is called Labware, which is now on existence, because every single time when a problem is identified, it's subject to be reviewed and methods to be changed. At the moment, we are using, it's actually going to be on place, I think this month or next month, because we are running a trial of that. Labware, where when we type, it has an option where we type the statement on a labware. And the labware, when you type the statement, the 212 on a statement, every single time you make changes, it keeps the original. It keeps, you can refer back as up to 14 of that statement that on this date, you made changes here. On this date, you made changes here. And it records the errors as well, because we are trying by all means to minimize the errors to zero. And then at that stage, we will know whether further training is needed to a person or the system needs to be changed.
So the chairperson of the commission says, this is a very, very disturbing observation. And he's right, because what we just heard is that South Africa's police forensic lab openly admits they prioritize clearing cases quickly over doing accurate work, which means the entire foundation of the criminal justice system is compromised because forensic evidence is supposed to be the most reliable, objective, scientific evidence you can present in court. But if the lab is rushing through cases and making errors all the time, then every conviction based on forensic evidence is potentially unsafe, and every acquittal based on faulty forensic evidence might have let a guilty person go free. And Makgotloe tries to defend the system by talking about new software they're implementing that will track all changes to reports. But that doesn't fix the fundamental problem, which is that they're understaffed, underfunded, and under pressure to process more cases than they can handle properly. And from other testimony at the commission, we know there are over 41,000 cases waiting for ballistic analysis, and the lab only has 42 analysts, which means the backlog will keep growing, and the pressure will keep increasing, and the errors will keep happening, and murderers will keep walking free.